Here I am at Peachtree Point Beach in Connecticut, and it's freezing. This is a lot different than those Australian beaches I'm used to, but I wanted to share a story with you about a time when I was teaching women in my church. It's called the Relief Society, and I was the teacher, and I was telling a story of a time when I was going through a really difficult trial. I mean, it was a hard trial, and I made the comment that I couldn't wait till I could float down the lazy river again. And out of the corner of my eye, I see this hand shoot up, and there she was, Margene Muhlestein. She was older than me, way wiser than me, and then she said to me, "Oh, Tamara." And I knew that I either said something really stupid and I was about to hear it. She said, "There is no such thing as the lazy river." I'm like, wait, what? Like, she burst my tender little bubble, and I'm sorry if I have to burst yours too, but she was right. Yes, there are peaceful moments. There are times that we can sit on our inner tube and the cool breeze is blowing and the sun is shining, the birds are chirping. Life is good. We love those moments. But more often than not, we are sitting on our inner tubes with clenched fists. We're trying to brave the rapids. The winds are crashing, the waves are blowing, we're soaking wet, and we are hanging on for dear life just to stay on that little black tube. I know someone who felt some of these familiar feelings. He was sent on a ship with his friends to cross this great sea. And halfway into the night, a storm came. And as the storm blew, they were rowing and rowing and rowing. And into the morning, they were rowing and could get nowhere. The boat was filling with water, and they were afraid. And then they see something far off. They see something that looks like a spirit, and it's coming towards them, walking on the water. They cry out in fear, and then they hear a familiar voice. And he says, "Be not afraid, it is I." And they realize it is their friend. It is the Savior. Peter, being the awesome guy he is, looks at the Savior and he says, "Can I come? Can I come and walk on the water with you?" And the Savior says, "Come." So Peter jumps out of the ship. This is something we'll visit later because that's just awesome. He jumps out of the ship and he begins to walk on water. Isn't that just amazing? And he's doing great until all of a sudden he looks around and the waves start crashing and the wind starts blowing and he gets wet and he begins to sink and he's afraid and he cries out in fear and he says, "Lord, save me." And I love that part because isn't that a great example of what we should do when we're afraid? To call out to the Savior to save you, and he will come, just like he came for Peter. In fact, in verse 31 of Matthew 14, it says, now listen to this word, and if you can go to your scriptures, I would do it. Get a highlighter, get a red pencil and mark it. I have this marked in my scriptures, this one word. It says, "And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? And then when they were come into the ship, the wind ceased." The Savior will do what he did for Peter. If he can calm the water for the disciples so long ago, he can calm the storms in your life. I love this quote by Carol B. Thomas when she said such wise words. She said, "Sometimes the Savior calms the storm, and sometimes he lets the storm rage and he calms you." So whether you're on the lazy river or the not so lazy river, you are not alone. If you call out to God for help, he will send it. He has already sent his son for us to heal broken hearts and broken lives, to heal weary souls and weary minds. He fixes things that aren't fixable, but he will come just like he came for Peter, and he will reach out his hand and he will lift you up, and he will come immediately. I know this is true because I have felt it in my own life. I'm wishing you the best. You've got this. You've got this because you've got the Savior. And with the Savior, you can do anything. So until next time, Shamalama.